Hello, 6th graders. Welcome to Big Ideas Math, Section 10.5, Simulations Extension. Pause while you write the lesson number and title in your math notebook. Pause again while you write today's learning objective in your math notebook. Today's objective is students will perform simulations to find probabilities of compound events. Copy the following term and definition into your notebook exactly as it appears. A simulation is an experiment that is designed to reproduce the conditions of a situation or process. Simulations allow you to study situations that are impractical to create in real life. We're going to take a look at example 1, simulating outcomes that are equally likely. A couple plans on having 3 children. The gender of each child is equally likely. A, we're going to design a simulation involving 20 trials that we can use to model the genders of the children. B, we're going to use that simulation to find the experimental probability that all 3 children are boys. A, we choose an experiment that has 2 equally likely outcomes for each event, gender, such as tossing 3 coins. Let heads, H, represent a boy, and tails, T, represent a girl. So we're flipping a coin to simulate having babies. So heads would be boys, tails would be girls. B, to find the experimental probability, you need repeated trials of the simulation. So the table shows 20 trials. So since this couple is having 3 children, you flip the coin 3 times for each trial. So heads, tails, heads is the first one. I'm going to just put a little dot there. Heads, tails, tails is the second one, and the third one, and so on. So we are looking for the experimental probability that all 3 children are boys. So in our 20 trials, boys, 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 or heads, heads, heads came up 2 times out of 20. So when we simplify that fraction, it's 1/10 or 10%. Now we're going to move on to simulating outcomes that are not equally likely. So let's look at the study tip over here to your left. In example 2, the digits 1 through 6 represent 60% of the possible digits 0 through 9 in the tens place. Likewise, the digits 1 and 2 represent 20% of the possible digits in the ones place. Okay, so let's look at our problem. It says there is a 60% chance of rain on Monday and a 20% chance of rain on Tuesday. Design and use a simulation involving 50 randomly generated numbers to find the experimental probability that it will rain on both days. So we are going to use the random number generator on a graphing calculator and randomly generate 50 numbers. So that's what's down here in this table. From 0 to 99. The table below shows the results. Let the digits 1 through 6 in the tens place represent rain on Monday. Let the digits 1 and 2 in the ones place represent rain on Tuesday. Any number that meets these criteria represents rain on both days. So over here in the study tip explains why they chose those. So there were 7 numbers that meet the criteria with having both of those digits be the right thing. So, and there were a total of 50 trials. So 7 out of 50. So the experimental probability was 7 out of 50, which equals 14%. Example 3 is using a spreadsheet to simulate outcomes. Each school year, there is a 50% chance that weather causes 1 or more days of school to be canceled. That might be in other places in the world besides Arizona. Design and use a simulation involving 50 randomly generated numbers to find the experimental probability that weather will cause school to be canceled in at least 3 of the next 4 school years. So It says use a random number generator in a spreadsheet. So that's what's done here. Randomly generate 50 four-digit whole numbers. The spreadsheet below shows the results. Let the digits 1 through 5 represent school years with a cancellation. The numbers in the spreadsheet that contain at least 3 digits from 1 through 5 represent 4 school years in which at least 3 of the years have a cancellation. And over here in the study tip, it explains how they created the 4-digit numbers. So it says to create a 4-digit random number table in a spreadsheet, follow these steps. Highlight the group of cells to use for your table, format the cells to display 4-digit whole numbers, and enter the formula RAND parentheses times 10,000 into each cell. Now, I will tell you that that formula might be a little bit different depending on which spreadsheet you're using. So, P, the probability of a cancellation in at least 3 of the next 4 school years, is going to be 17, because there were 17 with the correct numbers. 17 numbers contain at least 3 digits from 1 to 5, and there were 50 trials, so 17 out of 50. So the experimental probability is 17 out of 50, or 34%. Remember, to be completed with your flipped lesson, you need to have your notes, your vocabulary, and anything else that was assigned with your flipped lesson completed, along with any questions you have. And as always, have a good attitude.